Tide of red ink. The problem highlighted by this comment that the Fed Chair Ben Bernanke made this week. Not good. Roll this.
The task of developing and implementing sustainable fiscal policies is daunting, but meeting this challenge is absolutely essential. History makes clear that failure to achieve fiscal sustainability will, over time, sap the nation's economic vitality, reduce our living standards, and greatly increase the risk of economic and financial instability. The federal budget appears set to remain on an unsustainable path.
So what do we do now? And what was talked about inside that room on day one? Congressman Dave Camp out of Michigan, he was there, he's here now, the ranking Republican on the House Ways and Means Committee. Sir, good morning to you and welcome back here to America's Newsroom. You put out a statement yesterday for some strong language too, and one of the things you said, we have not one deficit to close but two, a budget deficit and a public trust deficit. That's saying a lot. What was the primary suggestion that was in that room yesterday?
Well, it was a first meeting, and so what was, I think, good is that there was a large agreement on the severity of the problem and the fact that we need to act now. I mean, I think that was pretty unanimous. But one of the things that came out of there was that health care costs were really the shark in the water, that what's driving our debt and deficit most significantly are the costs of health care. And we've just had a report that the health care bill actually increased health care spending in America. So I think if everything's on the table...
Let's take that a bit deeper. I thought this whole health care debate was to bring down costs. You're saying now that's not the case? And we have it as fact?
It's not the case. The bill was sold as bringing down costs. We now have from the President's own actuaries, the administration, that this bill actually increases costs significantly over time. And there was a lot of agreement that if we don't get control of health care costs, we're not going to make much progress on the debt deficit.
How are we going to do that then?
Well, I think that this health care bill has to be on the table. If there are those who want to see taxes on the table, I think certainly this health care bill is going to be on the table. But what really is the issue is that we have a spending problem. And that has dramatically occurred over the last 18 months in a way that has worsened our debt, worsened our deficit, $42,000 in debt for every man, woman, and child in America. So we do need to try to come together and move forward, and I hope we can, because for the future of the country, for the future of the next generation, that they can have as the same or higher living standard than we've got. We need to act, and we need to act.
You know that
soon.
History is stacked up against you. I mean, any debt commission in the past recommendations, they have not been enforced going back to 1983. We've looked at the debt clock every day. It's astounding to see these numbers tick by minute, hour by hour. Your home state of Michigan, by the way, you have, in your district alone, you have 5 counties that are almost at 20% unemployment. That is absolutely staggering when we see that on paper. Critics will argue that your commission is cover for the White House to eventually raise taxes. Do you believe that's the case?
Well, I don't. First of all, one of the concerns I've had is because the economy is in such bad shape, that if taxes were to go up, that would only make it more difficult for the economy to recover and for people to have jobs. So I think now is not the time to pursue that approach. What we really need to look at is the level of spending. And as we heard from expert after expert, that they even described healthcare spending as the shark in the water, that it is the big issue that we need to address, and yet here we've got a bill that made it worse. So I think this new healthcare bill has to be on the table, increasing Medicaid by 1/3, adding the Class Act. I think certainly the entitlements, we need to address those.
All right, Dave Camp, thank you for your time, the Republican out of Michigan. This is something we will continue to look at week after week and month after month. December 1st, results are due. Martha's got breaking news now. Martha.
All right, well, you heard it a short while ago right here on